to being the best power in the airwaves, changing the way we break it down the game. Wide body on the highway, we not in one lane, no nonsense, logic with every topic. The talk too real, the party we not invited.
What up? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of J Sideline. Shout out to the FNS family. Matt, LaWisha, Drea, Freeze Corner, FNS Podcast, and Wives Unscripted. It's a Monday morning here. In this cold week coming up. Monday morning, man, we got a whole week where the lows is in like single digits, and we got one day out the week, I think, that they said it's supposed to be -1, so it's going to be a cold one for us over here in the Detroit area. So y'all stay warm out there as best as you can. This is going to be a little bit of a late reaction because I was out of town for a week, but I'm still going to react to it because football is my thing. This is going to be mainly going to talk about the Super Bowl, man. Everybody seen the score. Everybody seen the results. It's kind of crazy how it happened, because you would expect this to at least be a competitive game to a certain degree. But roster-wise, when you look at the paper, when you look at the rosters on paper, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, because Philadelphia just has the best roster in the league. From top to bottom, they got above average, good to great players at every single position. The only position that you can make an argument that they have average play is at quarterback with Jalen Hurts, and he ended up winning the MVP, which is, we're gonna talk about that too. But the Chiefs came out, man. Offensively, this is not what folks was expecting to see from them. They went scoreless in the first half. You know, we was at the Super Bowl party, man, and like everybody was like kind of waiting for it to like start to get good and competitive. Chiefs offensive line couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes, what do they say, his Mahomes magic, whatever they call it, his ability to make really great plays in tight situations, that didn't exist on Super Bowl Sunday, man. Not only couldn't they not protect him, but he was making his fair share of mistakes that kept on digging him in the hole. The worst one probably was that pick six. The pick six, because that was one where he wasn't getting hit as he threw. He was scrambling and throwing across the field. And the rookie Cooper DeJean, man, he picked that thing off and ran that thing all the way back. So it's one of those things where it's like, all right, we waiting on y'all to be who y'all been being. But even when he did have time, Kelsey was dropping the ball. DeAndre Hopkins dropped the ball. It was just, it just didn't look like they deserved to be on that field. But this is the one thing that probably disappointed me the most about the Chiefs. Their game plan going into that game disrespected the game of football, in my opinion, because they took the running game completely out of their game plan. And not like, it wasn't like they did that when they seen that they was down by a lot. They came into the game with that. if you look at the box score, Patrick Mahomes, 5 scrambles that he had or whatever? That was more times than they handed the ball off to running backs combined. They did not come in trying to establish any type of a running game. It was like they just said, we got Patrick Mahomes. We believe that he's the best quarterback in the league. We believe that he's capable of making something out of nothing to beat this team because he beat this team before. That was almost like what they said with their game plan. We just going to come in throwing it every down with Patrick Mahomes. And you don't do that. Any team that wants to have success, whether it be in the regular season, in playoffs, and especially in the biggest game on stage, you need to have some sort of a running game. Even if it's not being highly productive, you'd still need to be able to hand the ball off. You need to do your offensive line a favor, because in the Super Bowl, you're going to be playing against the best of the other conference in some cases. And almost in every single case, the Super Bowl opponent that you're playing against, they got some sort of ability on defense to rush the passer. They got something like that going on. And when you just pass the ball, you just giving the other team like free range to just get off on your offensive line. They just going to be having a field day. Just going to be like practice. Yeah, we're going to get pass rushing reps. And against a team like Philly that has depth at the defensive line position, when it comes to rushing the passer, you should want them to have to like fight off a 300-pounder coming at them trying to push them back. That's what it should be. But these jokers here, man, they just kept on having that offensive line backing up. Because in pass protection, your first steps is backwards. Whereas in running game, your first steps is to push forward. So they came out with a terrible game plan, if you ask me. It disrespected the game of football, because the game of football was based on being able to run the football. Going back to them days when they had the leather helmets with no face mask, it was always about running the football. So if you don't run the football successfully, most of the time, you won't win a game like this. Most of the time. Now, defensively, the Chiefs, they game plan fairly worked, because you could clearly see that they had a game plan to limit Saquon Barkley from being able to run the ball effective. And he wasn't able to get off. I think he had like 12 or 15 carries with just under 60 yards. No touchdowns. So, that worked. But that only was effective if the offense can put points on the board too. Because like I said before, Philly's offense is loaded. Even with a quarterback who I think is an average quarterback, even with somebody like him, with all those receiving weapons that they got over there with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, even Saquon as a receiving back when they want to use him that way. When they got all of those weapons to throw the ball to, even when you give an average quarterback chance after chance after chance after chance after chance to make completions, he's going to eventually bust you in your head once or twice. And we seen that it ended up working out that way. Like, they got one touchdown in the first half, but they also got an interception. And that was one of the things that, like, I still to this day, I don't trust Jalen Hurts when it comes to throwing the football. I still don't trust him. And I don't think anybody should still trust him. Not that he's terrible, but you got to limit how many times you want him throwing the ball, because of results like that interception. And then when he's pressured, there was a couple of times even in that Super Bowl where if he does get the throw off, it's thrown high. Like he's not consistently accurate. And we know he doesn't have the strongest arm. So a lot of his throws have to be well timed in order for them to work really well. But when you're surrounded by all of them kind of players that he has on his roster, it can mask that a lot. Because essentially, he's going to get opportunities after opportunities to eventually get it right. And the way to make him pay for it, you have to score the ball when you stop them. Now, Kansas City should have been capable of scoring something. They should have been capable of scoring something. With DeAndre Hopkins, they had Juju Smith-Schuster over there, who was a big player for them in past Super Bowls. Xavier Worthy, speed demon. Hollywood Brown, another speed guy. And Travis Kelce, even though he's on his downward spiral for his career, he's a vet that knows how to play the game, so you would think that he would be able to make a couple of catches that are critical. But they was dropping the ball. And then they couldn't protect Mahomes. And then on a few times Mahomes had time to make a throw, or when he had to scramble out, roll out, the pick six happened. He got hit on that other throw that was picked off by Zach Bond at linebacker. Like, Josh Sweat, you could make an argument that Josh Sweat should have won the MVP. Let's flow right into that. I personally don't feel that Jalen Hurts should have won the MVP award. Reason why: Jalen Hurts, the plays that he did make, he didn't make those plays until the game was pretty much already decided. They went into the half, I think it was, 24-0? They went into half 24-0. Like, I don't think that the plays that he made was so significant to the game. It was just adding on to what was already going on. And when you think about most valuable, I think about who's the one that's having the biggest impact on the game. Jalen Hurts, to me, did not have the biggest impact on the game. Yeah, he had the stats at the end of the day. Because he got that another thrown touchdown. It was a pretty ball too. I give him credit for that one, but it was that timing route to Devontae Smith, deep down the middle. And then he had a couple of scrambles in the second half. So it's not like he didn't do absolutely nothing. It's just that I feel like it came when the game was already like, oh, okay, Eagles gonna win this one, and it looks like they're gonna win it with ease. That's when they came. Like, folks at my Super Bowl party, I don't know about the ones that y'all was attending, but folks at my Super Bowl party, they was leaving the game in the middle of the third quarter. When the last time that happened? Leave the game in the middle of the third. Man, look. That's how one-sided this thing was. Steve Spagnuolo, His defensive game plan fairly worked, but it was only going to work for a period of time, and it was only going to work long enough if the Chiefs was able to put points on the board, which they weren't able to do it. They weren't able to put points on the board until it didn't matter. Until it didn't matter. Like, I seen a podcast. No, it wasn't a podcast. It was that show with Emmanuel Acho and Shady McCoy and them. And they was interviewing one of the Chiefs defensive linemen after the Super Bowl. Which is, look, I wouldn't have did that. I don't know why you would go on a show and be talking about your Super Bowl loss like that. Like, they was halfway clowning him on the show and whatnot. But anyway, like, they was talking about, yeah, the backup quarterback got playing time against y'all. Like, that right there alone, like, I don't want to talk about this. I ain't trying to talk about the Super Bowl. I ain't trying to talk about nothing. I need time to you know, get back to life. I need time to digest what just happened. Because right now, I'm pissed. I don't want to talk about no Super Bowl. At least that would be me. But, you know, they had him on the show and he was talking about he knew the game was over when they put Carson Wentz in that backup. The game was over before the end. They was just... That's like regular season activities right there. Regular season or any game when you're getting blown out, which you did. Xavier Worthy had stats for the Chiefs with a couple of Patrick Mahomes touchdown throws and whatnot to him. The rookie showed up ready to play. Better than the vets. Better than the vets. Ain't that something? Vets that was at one point in time the best at their position. The rookie showed up better than them. So, hey, I know there was some memes talking about Travis Kelce being upset because he was supposed to propose to Taylor Swift or something like that. I don't know how true that stuff is. Because if he really was going to do that, it shouldn't be based on winning or losing a Super Bowl. But you shouldn't be trying to do that at the Super Bowl anyway. It's just icing on the cake if it does happen at the Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. But now they talking about they want Travis Kelce to come back as a role player, which is clearly that's all he can really do right now. Like, he's out of anybody that they father time catching up to them, and this game, as physical as it is and the wear and tear on the body that it has, for anybody, it's definitely showing up on him. It's definitely showing up on him. DeAndre Hopkins is almost there too. Like, well, he is there, to be honest with you. He ain't do too much of anything ever since he put on the Chiefs jersey. He had a couple of catches here and there, but he ain't like go off or anything like that, you know? So, but yeah, man, the Eagles won that Super Bowl, man, and unfortunately, it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, because I wanted it to happen with Saquon Barkley winning the MVP. You know, because I'm tired of the NFL disrespecting running backs. Not wanting to pay them, not wanting to give them the ball in moments when they should. Because if we think about it, man, running the football, that cost deciding not to run the football. Look at how many teams that cost them the game, cost them the Super Bowl. The 49ers' first matchup against the Chiefs. They stopped running the football, trying to get Jimmy Garoppolo stats, trying to get him the MVP trophy. And the Chiefs was able to capitalize on that. I remember it like it was yesterday. The Honey Badger, when he was on the Chiefs, he said, words clearly out his own mouth. He said, thank God they stopped running the football, because they couldn't stop it. Ridiculous. Prior to that, the Seahawks and the Patriots, the infamous dumb decision. You got the best running back in the league, never falls backwards, Marshawn Lynch, goal line, second down, and you decide to throw the ball when you're like, they were like at the 2-3 yard line. Everybody that was watching that felt like that was about to be the Seahawks repeat of a Super Bowl just by giving it to Marshawn Lynch and letting him just push backwards anybody that got in his way. But no, they chose to throw it. Turns into a pick. Patriots win the Super Bowl. The Atlanta Falcons lost against the Patriots. I remember that like it was yesterday. Them deciding not to continue to run the football, which is this Mike Shanahan again. Them deciding not to run the football. That's when Matt Ryan got sacked, took them out of field goal range. Patriots was able to have a breath of life in them to be able to come back and win the football game. Had they would have just ran the football, stayed in field goal range, made a field goal, that would have made it a 2-possession game, and they would have been able to win the game. This year, the Bills against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. James Cook was going all the way off in that game. Then they decided to not want to give James Cook the ball anymore. Dog, like, this is very fundamental here. I don't know why the league does this. I have my own personal opinions about this. I feel like there's some racial motivation behind that, because the quarterback position is still right now predominantly a white player's position. Predominantly. Most of the starting quarterbacks in the league are white players. And most of the running backs in the league are black players. And I personally feel like some of the racial motivation behind this, part of the reason why the positional value went down, they don't want to give them the ball because they don't want to make them be worth all those millions that they would be if they would give them the ball and let them do what they do. They want the quarterback to be able to throw the ball, be looked at as the hero, the savior, the reason why the team won the game, blah, 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 blah. That's what they want. And it's clearly evident with a lot of the things that happened in the past, just that brief history of things that I ran down. Not that there's no black quarterbacks in the league. I mean, Patrick Mahomes have black. Russell Wilson, I forget exactly what he is, but I feel like he's got some black in him. You know, Lamar Jackson. People forever going to be mad at Mark Andrews for dropping the ball. That could have sent it to overtime, tied the game. You know, I mean, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I feel like there's part of that in there. Not that that's the only reason, but I feel like that's part of the reason. Part of the reason why they do what they do to the running back position, man. And it's crazy because it takes away from the game of football. They don't show proper appreciation to the position. And just look at it. Look at it. The New York Giants. They could be the poster child for this. They didn't want to pay Saquon Barkley, what was it, $12 million a year? They didn't want to pay Saquon Barkley that. They said this is the year Daniel Jones. What a joke that turned out to be. Daniel Jones didn't even finish the season on the roster. That's how funny that was. Didn't even finish the season on the roster. But yet, the running back that they gave up, he goes to the Eagles, shows out. Clearly is the best player on the team. Clearly, looking throughout the season, the deadliest player on the team was Saquon Barkley. Most consistent, constantly making big plays. I think he only had one real bad play throughout the season, and that was the drop pass against Green Bay early in the season. I think that was the worst thing that he did. Outside of that, Saquon jumping over folks backwards. I mean, he just constantly going off. When you give the ball to your running back, when you got a running game like that, that is. And that's what I'm applying this to. When you got a running back that is capable of doing things for you, you need to be able to give them the ball enough times for them to be able to have their impact on the game, because that makes it easier for everybody else. Whenever you can establish a run game, you cause the defense to load the box, which causes the coverages to be more friendlier for you to throw the ball downfield. You have better matchups. And even this year, man, unfortunately, I hate to bring it up again, man, but the Detroit Lions, that's part of the reason why they lost to the dang on Washington Commanders. These jokers, the Washington went into that game with the 30th ranked run defense, meaning that they was third to last run defense. They're not good at it. And you got this Sonic and Knuckles running back tandem, and you don't run the ball as your primary way of getting your offense going, putting points on the board. Like Jared Goff, man, look, it's a frustrating subject. I ain't gonna talk about it too much because I know Matt, man, that's gonna bring back another headache when I ain't trying to do all of that. It's not just to him, but to the rest of you who are Detroit Lions fans that may be listening to this. So, all in all, man, look, it's football is over with, man. Like, this is the sad time of the year. We got to wait a little over 2 months for the draft. Almost over half the year we got to wait. Over half the year we got to wait for football to come back, man. This is one of the times where, Sundays is now open again. You know what I'm saying? Like Sundays normally would be spent with a beer, watching the game, at a sports bar watching the game. But now it's going to be kind of open. Basketball is on, but, they just had their All-Star game last night. Hey, that's been sucking too, by the way. Like, the All-Star game, I didn't even really want to watch it, any of it at all, but my wife put it on. And, like, this new format that they got, whatever tournament it is, and the first to 40 points, and folks still ain't trying to play basketball like they trying to win. They trying to just shoot threes in the All-Star game. Like, it's annoying at every level with this, man. Like when my wife cut it on, we was able to watch Shaq's team versus Chuck's team. Shaq's team had not one big man on their team. Not one big man on their team. The tallest person closest to being even considered and being able to be a power forward at best, which is he ain't even that. But 7 foot Kevin Durant. And then after that, maybe Jason Tatum. they was playing up against a team that featured Nikola Jokic, Wemby, Sengun, Karl Anthony Towns. They had some other bigs. I forget who all was on their team, man. But they had another, like, two more big players. Those type of players lining up against that roster that Shaq had, down low, and you just punish them on the glass. Because even they was out here just trying to pass around and shoot threes. They wasn't out there trying to win. Man, the NBA All-Star Weekend is just a full disgrace. Mac McClung won the dunk contest again, which is like, he's a cold dunker. He dunks like that's what he does as a profession, as a dunk specialist. Which is, okay, you know, there's a lane for that. There's dudes that do that, and they, you know, they pull those kind of things out all the time. You know, so Mac McClung being able to pull off what he did, I can't say that I'm completely surprised, because we see dudes do that all the time. But the fact that Mac McClung is a player that the NBA doesn't even see worthy as being able to be on a real roster here and get playing time, like, that just tells you something right there, man. The other three players that was dunking, like, okay, Castle might be somebody in this league. He might turn into being somebody in this league. But the other two players, one played for the Bucks, one played for the Bulls. You know? And then Ja Morant, he tweeting out trying to recruit Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine and Giannis. And he talking about, yeah, I might do it now if we all can do it together. Man, look, I could care less. Why? First of all, why would you even recruit Giannis? He ain't no dunker like that. He's a game dunker. So why would you recruit Giannis? And then Aaron Gordon, I ain't competing back in this thing if I'm Aaron Gordon. I got robbed twice. Why would I want to compete in this again? But you know, it is what it is, man. But all in all, man, that's it for this morning show, man. Y'all have a good day. Try to stay warm. Be on the lookout for more stuff coming. We're going to be linking up again here soon. But y'all be easy, man. Have a good day. Have a good week. F&S. Peace.
Can I rap real quick? Can I rap? On the path to being the best power in the airwaves, changing the way we break it down the game. Wide body on the highway, we not in one lane, no nonsense. Logic with every topic. The talk too real, the party we not invited. Want the truth? F&S, subscribe to it. The death shows, just play and ride to it. The voice is more important than the image. Feel every word spoken, no need for camera tricks. We on the grind, freeze corner with Jay Sideline. DBP next in line. Don't gotta feel he didn't know when you're fired. We in it for the long haul, the fatigue's off. We don't get tired. Nah, we don't get tired. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. F&S Network, we here to stay.